WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network presents the Relationship Ready Mind Talk Show with transformational life coach, Angela Kane.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the Relationship Ready Mind Talk Show. My name's Angela Kane, and I'm your host for this show, and you are listening to WGSN-DB on the Going Solo Network. And it's my pleasure to be chatting to you again today. And if you've been listening over the last few weeks, you'll know that I've been talking about a book that I've just written that isn't out yet, but it's going to be out within the next few weeks. And because the information in it, I feel, is so valuable and so useful, I've been talking about different chapters of that book each week. And so today I'm going to talk about another chapter in the book. And this chapter is about clearing. And what we've done so far is we've talked about various other chapters. So we talked about identifying the problem and what it really is that's holding you back from achieving whatever it is you want to achieve in your life, whether that's more money or a better career or a new partner or a better job, whatever it is. The first thing you have to do is identify what it is that's stopping you. And then the week after that, we talked about what I called it dance with your shadow. And what that is, it's a look, really, a looking into your soul and to look at the fragmented parts of the soul. Because when we heal those fragmented parts and we become a whole human being, well, that's what we're working towards, things just tend to get better, get easier, and you are able to manifest in your life the things that you want to manifest. And then last week we talked about what I call the I'm not enough syndrome. And that is, I believe, the number one emotional disease that most people, but certainly most women that I've worked with anyway, face today. And it was all about talking about that and how and why we feel we're not enough and what we can do to change that. And so today we're going to talk about how we start to clear those blocks and limiting beliefs that we have inside us. So if we clear the blocks, the limiting beliefs, we can learn some energy tools and techniques to get to the root cause of the problem and clear it for good. Because I'm all about transformation. I'm not about just sticking a plaster over the problem. And to transform means you really have to change. And the only way you can change permanently is to change from the inside out. So pretty much all the work you have to do is inner work. And yes, we still have to take action on our dreams, of course. But the most important thing is you do the inner work on yourself. And so if you've been listening to the previous weeks, you'll have a good idea of what all the accumulated stuff is that's causing you to have so many problems in your life. And so it's time to start clearing it all out with the old and in with the new. And so everything in the universe is energy. I've talked about this many times before. And quantum physicists tell us that matter is just energy vibrating at different speeds. And by the time we're 35 years old, we're a set of unconscious, memorized beliefs, habits, thoughts, and perception that basically run our life on automatic pilot. And by this time in our life, we've experienced most things. And so we can anticipate in advance how most things are going to feel. And consequently, we become more and more afraid of stepping into the unknown. And the unknown is actually the path to the divine. But we're afraid because we're afraid of how we'll feel. We don't like uncertainty. And for the most part, we want guarantees that things will work out before we're willing to give them a go. And for most people, change makes us feel very uncomfortable. I know it did for me for many, many years. And if we can anticipate how most things are going to feel, that means we can't feel the excitement of new emotions. And this At this time in our life, around midlife, many of us, I've discovered, start to ask bigger questions. And for some people, it's before they get to that stage, but they hit what's known as the famous midlife crisis. And everything, or so we think, is predictable. And so it becomes very tedious. And certain people at this time look for different interests and habits to get their kicks. Some people may have affairs or experiment with drugs or make a new circle of friends or buy a sports car, a new wardrobe, or change their image in some way. And for others, me included, well, I guess it started much earlier for me, but they begin to wonder what life is really about and question why they're here and what they're meant to be doing in the world. And at this point in life, many women, and men too, notice that they're miserable and dissatisfied with their lot. They think this is all there is and think surely there must be more to life than this. And sadly for some people, life is miserable because that's the prison they've created in their own mind and they can't see a way out of it. And in a nutshell, the reasons for these thoughts is because we feel unfulfilled. As I've said many times before, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And I believe we can't truly be happy by concentrating on the human experience alone. We need more than that. We need to connect with our soul. And this need is born in each and every one of us. We're so much more than just our body. In fact, that's the lesser part of who we are. Real happiness comes from the inside. It's not something you get, it's something you are. You can't buy it or trade for it. It has to come from within you. And no one else can give it to you, believe it or not, for very long anyway. And at this moment, you may not believe that, especially if you're suffering some loss or heartbreak in your life at the moment. But I can assure you, it's true for all of us. So many people look to external things in the hope that will bring them happiness. But I can tell you for sure that connecting to your inner being and finding your purpose in life will bring you endless joy. And in my experience, nothing compares to that. When you're living your purpose and are in alignment with the deepest values of your soul, you feel great happiness and a sense of peace, which is coming from your spirit, as those parts of you are being nurtured. You'll find also at this time that you love yourself enough to let your inner light shine and not hide away anymore. Let me assure you that when you've found your purpose, you will excel at it, because this is what you're meant to be doing on this incarnation. Your body records the memory of every experience. All your thoughts, feelings, emotions, judgments, and decisions have been registered in your body. And these memories are stored in your cellular membrane. And according to Dr. Bruce H. Lipton, PhD, our cells bathe in the energy and vibration created by our thoughts. Dr. Lipton, an internationally recognized cellular biologist and pioneer in the new science of epigenetics, meaning above genetics, studies the effect of emotions on our bodies and health. And he argues that it's not our genes that create illness. It is our mind. If the mind is sick, there is no way for the body to be healthy. In effect, this makes you the creator of your disease on some level. It takes you out of the notion of being a victim. There are many, many components to this, and we don't have time to go into it any more deeply on this call, but it does mean that you have on some level created it, all the good and all the bad. But look at it this way. If you've created disease or whatever else is going on in your life, if you can create that, you can create other things as well. You can create health. You are coded for greatness. And once you find that thing that lights you up inside, there's no doubt you will be great at it. In the search for happiness, people can get hooked on things like drugs, gambling, or excessive shopping to ease their pain temporarily, which can be extremely painful for their family. And I know firsthand what it's like to have experienced it within my own family many, many years ago. But what these people are searching for is meaning and fulfillment. They may try something like gambling or something like that, and it feels good. And dopamine, which is the feel-good hormone, gets released in the brain, and so they want to do it again. But quite quickly, the same exercise doesn't bring the same high, so they need to do more, spend more, gamble more, take a higher dose of whatever it is that created the feeling in the first place. And it's really just a temporary escape. And eventually this newfound hobby will become a huge and destructive program. A great friend or a loving partner can enhance our life and make it more enjoyable. Of that there is no doubt. But that will never be enough if we don't first work on ourselves to become whole human beings. The first person you must love and value is always yourself. When we look to someone else to make us happy, we're coming from a place of lack. And according to universal law, like attracts like. And so it's inevitable that you will attract someone to you that's also coming from a place of lack, however much they try to hide it at first. And it's only from a place of wholeness that we can function on this planet the way we're meant to and live in a state of peace and harmony, which is our natural state. From that state of being, we can attract our perfect partner, if that's what we desire. Someone who is also whole, complete, and has dealt with their demons. That concoction is a recipe for a very happy, fulfilling, and loving relationship. Life still happens to us, but we're in such a better position to deal with it. We learn to take the time to respond instead of react in anger from the unconscious programming that controls us. And as you know, if you've been listening to my show for some time, I talk constantly about creating a beautiful relationship with the most important person in your life, which is yourself. Because if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, what chance have you got of having one with another person? If we've not dealt with our own stuff, the person we attract won't have dealt with theirs either. And if we don't love ourselves, how can we expect anybody else to love us? We're born as a blank slate. We come into this life perfect and whole. The psychologist Carl Jung told us that. And the effects of the woundings we suffer in our early life shape us. And it's time just to take a quick break now, but don't go anywhere, because we'll be discussing more of this fascinating topic when we come back.
Hello, everybody. This is Madam Coach Correa, Love and Pillow Talk, WGSN-DB radio show. Join me every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and learn about love relationships and how they relate to your soulmate.
Hello and welcome back to the Relationship Ready Mind Talk Show. You're listening to WGSN-DB on the Going Solo Network. And thank you for joining me again. And if you've just joined us, before the break, we were talking about how we need to clear our limiting beliefs and our blocks to get to the root of our problems so that we can create the life that we really want to live. And we were talking about how we're born as a blank slate and that the effects of the woundings we suffer in our early life shape us, because the human mind is so complex. You may or may not have heard the phrase, your beliefs create your reality, but I'm sure if you've listened to my show and some of the other shows on this station, you will have heard that before. And this happens to be true. They absolutely do. Our beliefs form the building blocks of our experiences. We see the world through a filter that's formed by our core beliefs about ourselves and the world around us. And if you want to know what your beliefs are about yourself, take a look at your life. If you're not happy with what you see, it means you have some limiting beliefs that are shaping and directing your life. But to be able to change those beliefs, we have to first discover what they are. So for instance, if you're looking for a new relationship, are you searching for that relationship from a place of fear and need? Do you want to meet your ideal partner in the hope that he or she will make you happy, will make everything right, will take away your pain and make you feel complete? Do you tell yourself you'll be happy when you meet that special someone, or when you get that new job, or when you get your dream house? If that's the case, please believe me when I tell you that that is not the answer. You must first do the inner work necessary to deal and clear your stuff before embarking on a new relationship, if you want it to last. Your limiting beliefs, whatever they may be, not deserving happiness or love or not feeling good enough, will show up in your new relationship however much you don't want them to if you don't deal with them. And I don't advocate in my practice spending months and months going over past traumas with my clients, which is why I chose the path of coaching over counselling. Although I do believe counselling is necessary and that it's necessary to look at our wounds in order to heal from them, we don't ignore them. And in my 7-step transformational process, we do look at them. We start to understand why we've created them. And then, with understanding and self-care, the healing can begin. But most people blame their circumstances for their unhappiness. But that is because most are not aware that their beliefs are creating their reality. Our circumstances are a result of the actions we've taken or not taken, based on the belief system we hold from the old programming that was instilled in us as children. Our beliefs limit us and cause immense problems in our lives. If we do not uncover the ones that are no longer serving us and realise that we can change them, things won't change. And we do that by first examining what's not working for us right now and what beliefs we might be holding on to that are causing our unhappiness, whether that's from a lack of money or a lack of a relationship, in our career or in our health. Whatever it is, if it's not working the way you want it to, there is a belief somewhere inside you causing it. Our beliefs shape the person we are on the inside, which shows up on the outside. There is absolutely no hiding place. And I would bet you'll be familiar with this kind of experience. Perhaps you decide to move forward with something in your life and do something new, but you're immediately confronted by your inner critic, your mind chatter, that little voice in your head telling you, you can't do that, it's too hard, you haven't got the time, you haven't got the money, who will be interested anyway, so don't bother. You, or to be more precise, the critical part of you that lives by these limiting beliefs, has just managed to talk you out of something that could have been a great opportunity for you. But you probably think that what it's saying is true. Of course you do. You believe it. It's part of your belief system. It's part of you. But the good news is it's just a part. It's not you. And you can change those beliefs to ones that serve you instead. Our beliefs are designed to keep us safe. That's what they're meant to do. But the beliefs that we form through the eyes of a 4 or 5-year-old do not help us in adulthood. They hold us back. So let me ask you, what beliefs have you got that are holding you back? We have core neurological beliefs that shape our character and consequently our life. The human nervous system gets programmed very early on in life. We learn very quickly what we do that gets a smile, or what results in us being told that we're naughty and must not do that. If a parent says, don't be stupid, we grow up thinking we're stupid. This can go one of two ways. We either take on that belief and underachieve at everything because we believe that we are stupid, or we can spend many, many years trying to prove that is not the case and push ourselves so hard that we may achieve academically, but our personal life and possibly even our health will suffer because of it. Without exception, what we believe we can or cannot do will always become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we feel we can't do something, chances are we won't even attempt it. Take a moment right now and think about what might be holding you back. Write out the statement and then look at it and see if there is any real substance to it and how even the opposite might be true. Beliefs are lenses we see through, and all kinds of possibilities start opening up to you when you begin to look at these beliefs and start to challenge them. So go ahead, do that exercise now. Take out a pen and a piece of paper, or at the end of this call, and write down some things that you think are true about yourself, and then really look at them and ask yourself, are they? Where did you get them from? Whatever limiting beliefs you have, know that they are just that, an idea that you've taken on. And here's an uncomfortable truth. Every limitation, block, and barrier you experience are produced by a limiting belief inside you. But I just want to be clear, there is no blame here. It's not your fault. It's the same for all of us. We're programmed from birth and even before. You adopt your beliefs for a good reason at the time, but if your life is not the way you want it, they are obviously not helping you now. Just take a look at how you relate to other people. What do you wish you had in your life? Examine your lack of belief in your capabilities to have those things, because that belief is what's keeping them from you. Notice how often you use should and ought to in your vocabulary. That's just your inner critic again telling you you're wrong. Listen carefully to what you say to yourself on a daily basis and write out any conflicts that you're seeing or having in your life, that you can see them and look at them more clearly. And ask yourself, are you blaming the outside world for these problems and conflicts? If you believe you're capable of making a change, you can start developing the strategies that will enable you to do just that. What beliefs do you hold that limit you now? Because, as I said, beliefs are based on memories, and memories are mostly made up. They're just your perception at that time, and everyone has their own perception of reality. When you realize a belief doesn't hold any power over you, it's amazing. That pattern will no longer run in your life once you decide to let it go. The voice of the critic may seem very real to you, and it is, but that does not mean you have to listen to it. Just the same as our well-meaning friends that we call on for advice, we don't have to listen to them either. Our friends and family always mean well, but no one knows what is best for you more than you do. Your friends and family see your life and circumstances through their own lens and their picture of reality, which is different to yours. So start to build that muscle of self-trust in yourself and know that you're more qualified than anyone to make decisions about your life. I read this quote the other day by Henry David Thoreau, and I loved it. I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by a conscious endeavour. Isn't that fabulous? I think it's so powerful. Just sit with that for a moment and take it in and know how powerful you are. Every belief that we hold creates some limitation in our life. We tend to fear mistakes so much that the mere thought of something not quite working out stops us from trying. Mistakes are not bad. They're just an indication that particular way of doing things isn't quite right, and we can do it again a different way. Remember, those beliefs you hold are something you've thought over and over again. or something someone said to you, a parent or teacher perhaps, that you have decided to make real. When someone we consider an authoritative figure says something to us, it carries a lot more weight. An example is when a doctor tells their patient they're doing well, the patient is much more likely to improve. Milton Erickson, the famous psychiatrist, during his consultations with patients, would make an excuse to leave the room for a moment. Before the patient arrived, he would write in their notes, "doing well," knowing that they would look at them once he'd left the room. And sure enough, he found this to be most beneficial to his patient's recovery. There are many tools available for clearing limiting beliefs that work really well. The key is we have to use them. They work if you work them. In my coaching practice, I use a variety of tools that include NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. I also use some energy clearing techniques. Another one that's scientifically proven and is very effective is EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, or tapping, as it's more widely known. And I also use the Hawaiian method of clearing beliefs, the Ho'oponopono, which is wonderful. And EFT was used, Emotional Freedom Technique, was used with soldiers suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder with great success. So that's really, really good too. And it was also excessively used in the Sandy Hook tragedy a few years ago when children and some teachers were murdered by a gunman in the school. Many of the families and survivors were treated with EFT with astounding results. So whatever method you decide to do, I urge you to deal with your limiting beliefs. Get some help from someone who knows what they're doing. It's very, very difficult to do it on your own. It can be done, but it's very difficult. Don't let old beliefs from your past hold you back a moment longer, because it's wasting your life when you could be really, really happy. There are so many women who waste a vast amount of their lives feeling depressed and wretched. And I know if you're listening to this show, then you're ready for change. This is so important to me because I spent so many years being unhappy. And if I'd known then what I know now, I would have sorted myself out and gotten the help I needed many years earlier. And I don't want to see you waste any more of your time. You're valuable, and your life is much too precious to waste being miserable when you could start to fulfill your ambitions and live your dreams right now. So what's stopping you? And if you would like some help, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can contact me via the page, the Ask Angela button on the website, or you can contact me by email at angela@angelakane.com, or you can fill in the form on my website, which is angelakane.com. And so, please, if you've just got any questions about what we talked about on today's show, please just drop me a line. And as always, thank you so much for listening. And I do hope that this information is going some way to help you change your life. Thank you again for listening. Have a wonderful week. You've been listening to the Relationship Ready Mind Talk Show with me, Angela Kane, on WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. Thank you again. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.